Welcome back to my channel. Now in this video we will be discussing my many failures that I encountered in business. Now the thing with this is, I know that the title says failures, but honestly I see them more as lessons. But you know, for the YouTube algorithm, it's better to put failure according to ChatGPT. So I am going to, that's why I named it failures, but really and truly I see them as lessons that I learned, and know that I am actively doing business. I'm selling my books among other stuff. These are lessons that I've learned, and these are mistakes that I will most likely never make again, right? So I wanted to share those with you. Now you're probably wondering what's going on with my shirt. So this will make sense to you as I progress in the video, right? Now you have to promise me that you are not going to judge me, okay? This happened when I was young, between age 23 to 26 thereabout. So this was when I was like super duper young. So please, this is not how I think anymore. I'm sure me sharing this experience will help somebody, and as outrageous as my thought processes were during this time, please do not judge me, okay? So it started in 2019 when I decided to get into business. The reason I decided to get into business is because at the time, working as a guest services manager, I would have witnessed several companies come into the hotel to train staff, and I realized that it was a very lucrative business. So I decided, why not do something? Why not, you know, do a business or something? And at that time I felt like I had the competency in terms of customer service knowledge, because I was actively working in the field and I had a theoretical and practical knowledge of just customer service. So I decided, why not? I think I could add benefit. So I decided to register this business. Now in the first part of the video, I did ask you to promise me that you are not going to judge. Anyways, so I registered this business as a sole proprietor at the company's office of Jamaica, and I registered it as, don't judge, Seguro de Calidad Services Solutions, which means quality assurance services solutions in Spanish. You know what? I felt like at that time it was a unique name, and if I could blame anybody, I would blame the company's office, because you see a clearly young person coming in the place doing stupidness like this. You should have said something, you know. Why I can't look back and laugh now? Anyways, and in terms of branding, I'm gonna show you the branding. It was this light teal, oh my god, a color like this, and white and gray. That was the theme of the whole thing. And the primary service that I was offering is customer service training, and I call that training the Wow Workshop. And the reason I call it the Wow Workshop is because at the end of the service, at the end of the training and whatever, customers would get wow service, and the persons participated in it would be wow. And I decided that I'm going to do like a workshop companion, which I have a copy of that, a workshop companion. And that workshop companion, basically each participant gets a copy of it. I was reaching out to publishers and not publishers, printers and so on, trying to get a quotation, and what, it was just a mess, like no thought behind the actions. I was literally just going on Pinterest, looking on stuff, and just deciding that, hey, I'm gonna be doing this for my business. And I was just pumping money in it, because in my mind I'm investing in my business. Anyways, Me do all of that and it flop. Jesus. It flop. Me mean say, me send email to me tired. Me send email to me tired. I mean, me gonna say me can't find some my email them in the old email. Me send email to me tired. Like me I do this 2 years. And me literally say, alright. I am going to do an update to the branding because I'm thinking probably the branding is the problem. Probably the colors that I was using was not appealing to customers, so I needed to make myself more vibrant in the space. Lord. So anyways, I did a rebrand in 2 years after. That was 2021, I believe. 2021, I did a rebrand, and basically I call it SCSS, Quality Management Solutions. That never too bad. Give me props. That never too bad. The SCSS is basically Seguro, they call it that, Services Solutions, Quality Management. Why? Quality Management Solutions. And this color palette included very bright pink, purple, neon green. Neon green and alright. Neon green. Alright. So, in addition to customer service training. Alright. So in addition to, and I'm laughing because during that time when I was doing what I was doing, you know, I was convinced that I'm doing the right thing. And it was just a bunch of nothing. Anyways, so of course, this one I have a neon green and all kind of something, and you know, I started looking on, you know, how I can, you know, reach out, increase my change my tactics and stuff. But this one now I was saying, instead of just doing customer service to B2B sales, why not do B2C sales? So I started advertising the WOW workshop as a workshop for you know, normal persons who want to do customer service. My love, me say that was when I got into Instagram and marketing. My love, so something me used to post, God help me. Anyways, so me do all of that now, and something, of course, I gained a little traction because, in all fairness, there was this one lady, she did reach out, what's her name? I don't remember, I think it's Samantha or something like that, but she did reach out and she expressed genuine interest in the workshop. And she just as mad as me. Jesus. She didn't make any payments, but she, you know, she seemed interested. And I was telling her that, you know, like Mega said, I can't find like some email templates I used to send to the people them. It's just a mess. Anyways, so anyway, so that was that. She was the only person over that 1 year period that actually showed some form of interest, right? And I also did a name change as well. So I'll show you that. Because I show no evidence of everything, you know. Because one thing with this channel, I not just come here. You see, because when I tell people they outrageous story here, they feel like a lie me I tell. I want to make sure say I have the proper evidence so you can see the things them when I did go out with. Anyways, so when I get bad now, I say at this time I do business. Lord God. At this time I'm doing business for what 3 years ago. 4 in 2022 I decided that okay, I'm gonna do another rebrand, right? So with this rebrand now, the whole idea is I wanted to make it more formal. So this is when I got the assistance of a branding specialist. So she did branding, content creation, blah blah blah, all of that good stuff. And she basically draped me up pretty much and tell me say like all of me I do it's not working and blah blah blah. And she showed me what I can do and I did it. So my first round of stuff was to rename the business altogether, and this time I named it Pink CX Training Limited. So with Pink there's a part before I get to Pink CX Training Limited. It was because before I registered it, before I did the name change officially, I have a logo that says Pink CX Consultancy Group. So it was Pink CX Consultancy Group, and then I renamed it when I went to the company's office to do an incorporation of business of the company. That was when they told me that if I'm going to include the word group in a brand, in a name or something like that, it has to be more than one company's. So that was when I made the decision to say Pink CX Training Limited. So I renamed it Pink CX Training Limited and got it incorporated at that time, right? So anyways, they say why I need my notes, because I want to make sure so I get all that information, because this was so long ago, and this is kind of the whole thing I kind of buried deep, because for example, if I'm doing any form of business or anything like that, when I remember all of them things that when I do, it used to bother me, like, and it used to put a damper on my spirit, like I would never actually be good in business, understand? So I kind of bury all of them there. Anyways, so that was that with Pink CX Training Limited, right? So Pink CX Training Limited, that one hit. I had the pink background. The pink was a part of the branding, navy blue and white, right? And a little bit of yellow. So to be honest, that branding was cohesive. That was when I started to increase, in terms of following, and people actually started to take what I was doing seriously. I also got a website. I don't have it anymore, but it was www.pinkcx.com. And it was well done and everything, and the thing started to look official now. So at that point now, when I realized that persons were actually reaching out, I decided that I am going to do a service in content creation and stuff like that, because I moved too fast. While I was working with the coach, I realized that in order for you to, a lot of businesses are not really standing out on social media because they do not have proper content. It was with working, because I was working with her, that was when I realized that I was a natural at content creation. Like, for those who know, they know. I'll try to attach, but the content, people used to love my content. Pink CX Boss was the name of that page. I was the Pink CX Boss. And people used to go crazy for the content. Persons were following me, and it was just a good community, right? And I decided, why not teach content creation? So that was when I introduced what is called the one-on-one social media bootcamp. Those who know, they know. It was pink camouflage. That was the whole branding thing, pink camouflage. And it was just girly and pink and super effective. Like, the reviews go crazy. A part of me kind of missed that era, but I had to move on. So it was after that third rebranding. Now, having worked with these women, and hold on, let me just say something too. With the one-on-one social media bootcamp as well, a part of it also involved the business basics, right? So at that time, I would have learned just the basics of just business in general, all of that stuff that I didn't know before, because I would have gotten my certification in digital marketing from iCreate Institute. Who remember iCreate? That was where I got my certification from, right? Now, after that certificate, boy, I just feel like me in a one bag of circles. But anyways, after the certification with I create, it bolstered my talent, my natural talent of content creation, and as a result of that, I was able to teach others how to do content creation, and it was from that where I became known as the Pink CX boss, and I also garnered all the positive reviews, all of these things. Now, while I was working with like my first set of clients, I realized something, that majority of them, their Instagram page, for example, was not cohesive in the sense that the branding needed work. So that was when I decided that I want to also teach branding. Now, considering me of all persons, where I'm coming from, that made a compelling pitch, because I was able to show them where I'm coming from with my branding to where I'm at now, and they could see the fruits of the hard work and the failure, put it that way. So it was easy to convince them. Then I remember I was having a discussion with one of my clients that was overseas, and because of the time difference, I had to wake up like 3 in the morning in order for me to be in sync with her 8 o'clock in the morning, right? So because of that, the service was kind of being affected, because there were some things that it's better for you to have like written material pretty much, instead of me having to sit in front of you and tell you these things. So that was when she suggested, why not do like a guide or something, or like a workbook or something for us. So we go through the workbook, and then we have a discussion about things in the workbook, and we come up with actionable steps that we can take and all of that. And I decided, hey, why not? I didn't even think through. To be honest, that was my first book, by the way, and it's the branding guide. And with that book, the whole idea is that I wanted to show people the ins and outs of branding. So the idea was that I would sell that as a add-on to the boot camp, right? So I didn't do any market research, I didn't do anything. I just decided to run with the idea, because a part of me felt like, because I was already at this place where persons know me and I'm basically on a high when it comes down to marketing, it would have been easy for me to market. Me say, I did some wrong up, girl. I'm gonna tell her the story. So once I did that book, I didn't sell as many copies as I thought I would. I sold probably about 30 copies, and the remaining persons with copies of this book, it was basically given to them during the one-on-one social media boot camp. But looking back, it's a very good book. I just needed to have the proper strategy, which I didn't have, considering that I am a coach teaching people how to launch products and do products. My own product, I wasn't really following my advice, and to be honest, there was just a part of me that just felt like it would work, simply because I am who I am. Girl, it failed, and eventually business was getting like really good. I was like growing gradually until it get to a point where I was fully booked and all of these things. Like in 1 month I have like 20 clients and all of these things, and the thing wasn't cheap. It was like $10,000, and people were actually booking. I had to raise the price, because at one point it was $6,000, and then I realized that a lot of persons were booking. So I'm thinking, okay, let me raise the price. And when I raised the price, I was still fully booked and all of these things. So I say, no man, business are going good. And this was like about a year and some months going into just working. So I decided to leave my job, because I couldn't manage business plus my job, and I could see a clear way of how I can grow and expand the business and all of that. I already had that planned out and everything, but I needed time, because at that time work was stressful, and I didn't want the service quality to decrease. So that was why I decided just to leave altogether, right? And I did, and when I did, I was basically thinking, okay, is that the paranoia they're setting, like, what did I do? I don't have an income coming in this month, so I need to make sure that I am making X amount consistently so I can maintain my lifestyle, all of that, pay my bills, all of these things. And granted, I had some money saved up, but you don't want to get in that money unless it's something, you understand? So I decided, out of that state where I don't know what was that, because I had a plan. It's not like me get up and just leave. So you understand, I had a plan. So I started to feel like I needed to have more sources of income in order for me to be sustainable or whatever. I don't know, it was just a stupid thought process. Anyways, I decided that I'm going to start another business, and the name of that business is Erotic JM, and that is why I'm wearing this. It's officially registered as Erotic Sex Toys and More at the company's office of Jamaica. And with that business, I was selling, I told you, sex toys and more. I also added t-shirts for supplementary revenue, and I thought they were cool and all of that. And to be honest with you, I don't know, that business just felt wrong. I think that was just God telling me that you go too far now. So I went on Alibaba and I found the stuff. I did the calculation, was ready to do everything, and the moment I decided to check out, whoever shop at Alibaba knows that they have one feature where if you have the stuff in the cart and so on for too long, then just remove everything altogether. And the day I was ready to check out and shipping the stuff, because I found a company, because remember, a whole heap of stuff me I buy, and me never want to ship it through my normal shipping company, so I had to find something like a broker in order to help me. So when I finally found that person, we do the calculation and he tell me when I be, and I say, alright, I can work with that, and I was ready to make the purchase. But basically, so I have to go back through every single thing. And I don't know, the t-shirts as well, I would purchase the t-shirts because I did get a few people buying the t-shirts as well, and I would send them to the printry, get them printed, and I don't know, they would just, it just felt wrong. And then because I was focusing on starting up that business, because I was focusing on that, the other side, which is the coaching aspect, was dwindling because I'm not able to market as much as I used to. So persons were moving on. I had DMs in my, messages from people. I had messages from people in my DM for 4 or 5 days before I got a chance to even answer them. And people do move on because Instagram is fast paced and coaches are a dime a dozen. So persons eventually found my competitors and so on and so forth. So especially the ones who were consistent. So things were just falling off balance. And then another opportunity came up for a job. I think that was God, because God kind of knew that I was getting to a point of burnout because I was trying to do so much. I had a plan and I wasn't sticking to the plan because of a false sense of danger in my head. I was making up stuff like, what if that happened, instead of actually going through with the plan that I sat and I drafted. So another opportunity came up for another job. This one, I decided, okay, I'm going to go with that one, right? So when I got this job now, I was still working with clients, but it wasn't a lot of clients. It was about 10 or 11 clients. And at that point, I was doing social media management for them. And I had 1 and 2 persons doing coaching, but it was mostly 1 session. It wasn't the boot camp, because I had stopped offering the boot camp for a little while because I was focusing on the other business, this one. So anyways, Eventually I started the job, and when I started the job, is like something I said to me, say, you can't have a job that requires you traveling a lot, both locally and internationally, and operate a business. Bear in mind, this business was a virtual business. The places I was staying for work, they had Wi-Fi, but I just had this mindset that it's either the job or the business. And at that time, I was in like a stage where I was already paranoid that I left my job just like that. Although I had a plan, I was just paranoid, and I decided, okay, I'm going to go with the job because it feels like the safer option. And I decided to take the job, so I stopped doing business and altogether, right? Now, mind you, at this time I was just at a place where I just wanted to make sure I had a consistent source of income, and the job provided that. So I decided, why not? So I basically gave up my dream pretty much for a job. So that was that. I was young, and I forgive myself for that. It actually took me years to forgive myself for that. Actually, I'm going to do another video about that, and I honestly think it's just divine intervention why I'm able to even get back into doing any form of business, because of how badly I would beat myself because I made that decision. And it's not because I hate my job, but it's because I know what the potential was for my business, considering how well I was doing. So let's start now about the lessons that I've learned. So the first lesson that I learned is that haste really does make waste, right? So you don't need to be in such a rush. If you're building something, if you're a woman in your 20s and you have a business, whatever the business is, and you're trying to build something, my recommendation is to play the long game. By playing the long game, basically what you're doing is you're building everything intentionally, brick by brick, in a sustainable way. My problem was, when I first started out, I was just rushing. Even with my first business, I was just rushing. It just feels like there was this rush to, get clients, and because of that, I was making a lot of stupid mistakes financially and all of these things, right? So try not to be in such a rush. You need to test your thoughts as well. Not because it comes to your mind that means it's true or that means it will work. So you have to come up with methods that you can use to verify stuff that you're saying. So some persons might do additional research. So if something said to you, if you sell ear, or like most persons have nails business, ear business, skincare business. If you have a skincare business, right, and something said to you one day, say, instead of sell body scrubs, sell bleaching cream, and you just jump with it. No, do your proper research. Consider my clients, the persons that I am currently advertising to. What would it be like if I just decided that I'm not going to sell the products that they're actually buying, and sell something else that they probably have never shown interest in? So test your thoughts, right? Test the theory, test it. Okay, guys, I'm thinking about doing bleaching cream. What do you think about this? You not just get up and decide the next morning because you come in your mind, you decide the next morning and say, alright, I'm going to stop selling it, so I just decide there. Things don't work like that, right? The second lesson that I learned is that consistency really is key. Now, during that period where I was focusing on this brand, Erotic, while my other business, Pink Sex Boss, let's call it that, Pink Sex was dwindling, right? I lost a lot of potential customers and customers to my competitors who were showing up more in that space. So, although the reviews say it, and not to be boastful or anything, and although I was a better coach, they got the clients because they were showing up, and persons were getting used to them, and the persons were, trusting them more, and I was basically showing up every now and then. So persons lost trust for the page. So although they read the reviews and they know from their friends that this is a good coach, if I'm not accessible to them, how would they be able to benefit from that? So if you are a person in business and you're not consistent in business, you need to really sit down and look at some ways that you can be consistent. And let's talk about consistency, not only with marketing but with quality as well, right? So you can sell body scrub or body lotion, and this batch it is nice and thick, and the next batch is watered down. You get where I'm coming from? Consistency also applies to how you show up on social media. It shows up on your branding, your content style, everything. All of this matters. So consistency really is key. And another thing I learned as well is that really and truly certifications are important, because yes, you might have a natural ability, or probably not certification but formal training in an area is important. Now people might knock persons who do a tertiary education and stuff like that, and they might say it's a waste of money, especially in this economy, and it doesn't guarantee jobs and all of that. But when it comes down to business, having some form of knowledge, formal education on the subject matter that you're getting involved in really does set you apart, because honestly, it's one part for you to have the natural ability, but if you are not properly certified in whatever you are doing, or probably not the word certified, but if you're not properly educated on the area that you're venturing into, you won't be able to manage your natural abilities, and as a result you will have a lot of untapped potential. So a great example of this is content. I found out when I started to when I did my digital marketing certification, that was when I realized how good I was at marketing. I remember I tell you, the 2 to 3 years before I failed at even attracting one customer. But because I had the natural raw passion, but it wasn't, I don't know, it just wasn't molded properly, right? The moment I started to learn the fundamentals and it formalized the education process, that was when I started to unlock my true potential. So I say this to say, if you're a girly, getting in the lash business or the nail business or hair business or whatever it is, try to get some form of formal education about these things. Now, I'm not saying that you need to apply to the University of the West Indies or Stanford or Yale or any of that. You don't have to. You have a lot of free online resources that you can use. For example, YouTube University. I still use YouTube to brush up on some areas. Like the other day I wanted to brush up on the whole SEO thing, and I used YouTube just to remind me of things that I already know, but it's kind of planted deep in my head. Nothing is wrong with that. You have another great one called Alice University as well. It offers a lot of free courses and it's good stuff. It's just that sometimes the professors, they speak in deep Indian, with a deep Indian accent, but I mean, you can read the subtitles or you can listen in attentively. So yeah, you definitely need some form of certification or formal education, right? And the certification is good too, because you can show your clients that you're not just a person coming on the internet or wherever getting stuff done. You're actually showing them that you are a professional at what you do. Because when I started to offer social media management services to my clients, which was a more very expensive, because one thing with me I got price me something them, you understand? And when I was able to win these persons over, I was able to show them that I am certified by iCreate Institute, and I am able to show them everything, right? Now, in terms of getting back to the basics now, another thing that you have to learn is how to master the basics. So you're running a business, you have to understand marketing, right? You have to understand customer service, you have to and people management, client relations, stuff like that. You have to understand bookkeeping. Now, as you expand, you might want to get, let's say, a marketer or a bookkeeper and stuff like that. But when you're just starting out, you have to learn how to do these things, because these are like the backbone of getting things done in your business. Because it wouldn't make sense that you are, let's say, you're doing well with marketing, but when the profits come in, you're basically spending it on unnecessary stuff. And when the income comes in, you're spending it on unnecessary stuff, and then as a result, you're operating in the red, or you don't have any profit whatsoever. So you have to understand these things. Client relations, that one is straightforward. If you don't know how to deal with people, even if you have good marketing, we've seen it time and time again. You will pique their interest, they will probably spend with you one time, but the relationship will not be sustainable, which is, detrimental to the business in the long term. So you also have to understand that you need discipline to build good routines and maintain them. So the thing with discipline is that it keeps you going even when your morale is low or when your motivation is low. So motivation feels good because, there's this drive, there's this passion, and, you want to just go, and you feel good while doing it. But what happens when you invest your time and effort, your blood, sweat, and tears in something and it doesn't work out? What do? That any normal human, they will feel crushed by the experience, and motivation and morale will decrease. But that still doesn't mean that you're going to stop doing what you're doing. You have to continue, you understand, because you have to fail in order for you to win. So you have to cultivate discipline, and discipline shows up in a number of ways. It's not just, I'm gonna do this. It's a commitment to yourself and the process. So if you are, that is why too, a lot of successful billionaires, millionaires, persons like these, they usually are very disciplined, and especially when it comes on to working out, that's the first indicator of a person's level of discipline, how serious they take their fitness. So, I know, boy, if you get up in the morning, before everybody, or even when you have a good day, a bad day, if you get up and say you're going to work out, work out is something hard, especially if you're training. You understand? I know, boy, if you say, alright, I'm going to push my body to the limits every day or 5 days out of the week, even when I don't feel like doing it mentally. So if you can have a very active fitness routine, that discipline starts to spill over in other aspects of your life. Plus, it does wonders for you. That's something that I speak about in my book as well. The psychology of habits, and basically how the habit loop works and all of that. So another thing that I learned too is that competition is good, right? It can be intimidating, but it helps to build your character, and it reminds you that the customer is king. Now, from a business perspective, competition is good because it promotes innovation. So without competition, the business doesn't feel motivated to give customers a better version of their product, right? So it is good because it also helps you to unlock different areas of your potential that would have just rested if you didn't see the need to innovate. So yeah, I just want to put that in there because some persons do get intimidated by the competition. There is several strategies that you can use when analyzing your competitors and basically using their strengths to make you stronger and their weakness to make you stronger. That is something that I also covered. I think what I can do is do like a crash course or something with everything that I know about just business in a video, and I can provide that to the girlies in their 20s Another thing mindset is another thing I learned as well is that your mindset really does affect your decision making. Now, remember I was telling you that when I got the other job after I decided to do business full time, I told you that I, got another job, and for some reason I thought that I couldn't operate the business while I was doing the job. That was a mindset situation and not necessarily the truth, because the reality is I was operating a virtual service. So anywhere in the world I am able to do social media management and coaching. Where I was staying had Wi-Fi and everything. So that was just that was just a mindset situation. And if you're a girl in your business and you're encountering some roadblocks and so on, sometimes you have to stop, or you're making certain decisions. Sometimes you have to stop and make sure that, this is actually the best thing to do, or it's not just a mindset thing. It's not as a result of your belief system, if you get me right. No. The final thing that I learned is that when you're operating business, you have to be methodical in your approach. Now, I understand that when you get too emotionally attached to something, it can affect your decisions, right? Especially if this business means something to you. Sometimes it can get overwhelming when you don't see things happening the way they should. And that is when the methodical part of your brain should chip in. Because if you allow your emotions to be the driving force only for your business, you will not have a sustainable business. Emotion should be a driving force in your marketing, because people tend to buy based on their emotions. So it's always good to sprinkle a little bit of emotions in your marketing. But in terms of actual business operations, making key decisions in your business, you definitely need to be methodical. Now, if you're a naturally emotional person, that is where you need to ground yourself with knowledge. So you need to understand the in and out blueprint of just what you're doing. So you know the in and out blueprint or the principles of what you're doing. So for example, bookkeeping is a great example of this. You have to understand the principles of bookkeeping. Otherwise, you find yourself making emotional decisions. So if you are not in profit, you should not be looking to spend additional money on, cute bubble mailers. You get where I'm coming from? You're not in profit, so you do not have the luxury of buying cute bubble mailers. You should be thinking about, how can I operate without having to spend more money, because you're in the red. You get where I'm coming from? So that is a methodical, principled approach to business as opposed to an emotional approach. So as I said, I know that it's hard. Fortunately for me, I tend to be emotional, but when it comes down to making certain decisions, trust me, I can be very methodical. Persons who know me in real life know that I am the details girl with a little sprinkly. So yeah, that's it pretty much. So if you found value in this video, please like, subscribe, and share with a friend. Probably this person is an entrepreneur and they might need some encouragement, or they might just need to hear some content related to their journey. This is the video for them. And don't forget to grab a copy of your book, Surviving Your 20s, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.